Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. Once again, the Supreme Court making news today, both for what they did do and what they did not do. The court did not rule on Donald Trump's wild, desperate bid for total immunity for the crimes he committed while in office, a case that is very clearly the most pressing in terms of immediate deadlines, not to mention stakes for American democracy. It's one in which this court's conservative majority has, at this point, I think it's fair to say, obviously and intentionally dragged their feet to protect Trump from going on trial before November's elections on charges of trying to overthrow American democracy. But everything you want to know about the Supreme Court can be learned from the decision they did release today, and later from the decision they accidentally released today. You see, for a brief moment today, the court posted a copy of a decision that appears set to allow emergency room doctors in Idaho to perform abortions in certain situations. They quickly took it down, and we're going to have more on that later. But the first decision, the one they actually meant to actually put up, and they read, the one they released on purpose, well, how can I put this? It effectively legalized blatant public corruption again. The case was called Snyder v. United States, and it involves this man, James Snyder, the former Republican mayor of Portage, Indiana. Now, back in 2011, then candidate Snyder pitched himself to voters as a successful businessman, the owner of a mortgage company who could bring fiscal responsibility to the city of Portage.
You had my commitment that fiscal responsibility is so much more than a campaign slogan or a catchy phrase. As a business owner in the mortgage industry, we were on the front lines of the economic disaster. Each month, fiscal restraint was realized in different ways with my employees and me. Because we managed and navigated prudently, our doors are part of the 5% of mortgage companies still open in Indiana.
By 2013, Snyder was now the mayor. That pitch was successful to the voters. It seems his theory of fiscal responsibility had not quite borne out. As the Chicago Tribune reports, it was Christmas time 2013, and James Snyder was in trouble. His mortgage business had tanked, the IRS was after him for a significant tax debt, and on top of that, he had holiday spending to account for. So Snyder showed up unannounced to Great Lakes Peterbilt, the local truck dealership he'd helped to win 2 lucrative city contracts. "I need money, that's what I'm here for," the mayor told the owners. Days later, the dealership cut Snyder a check for $13,000, saying it was for consulting that was never fully performed. Okay, all right. So he steers contracts to this dealership. He shows up. He's desperate. He says, "I need money." They give him $13,000. I'm not a lawyer, but a sitting mayor marching into the office of a business where he had steered $1 million in government contracts and saying, like, "Give me cash," does not sound entirely on the up and up. And you know what? The Department of Justice agreed. Snyder was indicted on federal corruption charges back in 2016, and after a lengthy back and forth and multiple trials, he was found guilty in 2021.
Portage's former mayor will spend 21 months behind bars. A federal judge handed down the sentence yesterday. A jury convicted James Snyder of taking a $13,000 bribe from a trucking company and illegal tax evasion.
Now, Snyder has consistently denied any wrongdoing. He argues the $13,000 was just a fee for his consulting work, though what that consulting work is a little unclear. What's more, it couldn't possibly be a bribe, and this is important. This is what he argued before the Supreme Court of the United States. It couldn't be a bribe, you see, because he received the money after the contracts were allocated. So, if anything, it was more like a tip for a job well done. Like he just, like a barista, like he just moved the screen around. And the guy was like, "Yeah, $13K, boom." Wouldn't you know it, the Supreme Court agreed. Today, they threw out Snyder's conviction. Here's how Justice Brett Kavanaugh put it in his opinion. "The question in this case is whether the law also makes it a crime for state and local officials to accept gratuities. For example, gift cards, lunches, plaques, books, framed photos, or the like, that may be given as a token of appreciation after the official act." And the answer is no. Framed plaques, books, that thing. See, Snyder just accepted a gratuity, a little tip, as a reward for steering $1 million in contracts to a trucking company. It was like a nice book or a commemorative plaque or $13,000. And here's the thing. This is like sort of a narrow statutory interpretation decision about this aspect of the federal code. Was it proper to prosecute him under this law? But the decision does not exist in a vacuum. You have to understand this. This comes against the context of the Supreme Court that has, first of all, increasingly lost the public's trust. And that's not just because Samuel Alito keeps flying insurrectionist flags outside his various homes, or because Clarence Thomas's wife, Ginny, was texting Trump's White House chief of staff conspiracy theories about the Bidens being sent to Guantanamo Bay, but because of the allegations of rank, obvious corruption leveled against those two men. I mean, particularly Clarence Thomas, the subject of our absolute favorite bar chart, which documents the $4 million in disclosed and undisclosed, gratuities that he has received while on the court. Like a luxury RV worth $250,000, trips on a private jet and a super yacht. How do you think that guy feels about public corruption laws? Whether getting gratuities is prosecutable? Or how about Justice Alito, who got a free fishing trip from Republican megadonor Paul Singer and $100,000 worth of free travel on a private jet? What do you think his take is on ethics rules for government officials? Would you be shocked to learn that both of those men voted to throw out James Snyder's conviction today? And this is not a one-off. This is really important. This court has shown itself, both in practice and in theory, to be committed to a pro-corruption agenda. In 2010, the Roberts Court limited the scope of federal corruption law in the case of convicted Enron CEO Jeff Skilling. In 2016, it overturned the conviction of former Virginia Republican Governor Bob McDonnell, who, along with his wife, accepted nearly $200,000 in gifts, gratuities you might call them, and loans from a local businessman, including vacations, clothes, Rolex. In 2020, it threw out the convictions of former New Jersey government officials in the corrupt Bridgegate scandal after they intentionally caused a massive traffic jam on the George Washington Bridge to punish a political rival. Now, to be clear and fair here, those decisions were not all right down on ideological lines. This one was, and it is clear the Trump 6th Street conservative majority are the ones dictating a new, more radical direction of this court, including today's decision. They really do seem to, in the aggregate, want to get rid of the criminalization of corruption and bribery. They want to make corruption legal and acceptable for all. And considering they went out of their way to bail out a former Republican mayor from a small town in Indiana, what do you think they'd be willing to do for the former Republican president of the United States?
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.